exactly 2 minutes past 8, and we always believe in inspiration at this particular time as we take a look at forward the people that have gone ahead of us when it comes to business management. They have the experience, they have gone through the different failures in life, and they know exactly what to do when certain circumstances happen around you, and they seem to be a little bit discouraging. Let's get inspired for now. You make the mistakes don't make you, and you need to become time savvy and incredibly organized. Now, making mistakes don't make us. We are so many times we can make a lot of mistakes and reach a point, and we define ourselves as people that make mistakes.
Well, of course, I've never personally ever thought of myself as I've never let my mistake or my failure define me, because at the end of the day, I know I have much capacity than that small failure. That small failure that is, hindering me from being what I want. But I mean, it shouldn't define you. I mean, why would you feel like the mistake you did, maybe you had a business and you feel like, you know what, when a business I can't, no, I cannot, this is not for me. Like you brand yourself like, this is not for me. Yeah, it's not a good mentality. Yeah, the fact that you fail, because Einstein, how many times did he fail? Many people have failed. Even the rich guys that Bill Gates, at one point, Bill Gates failed.
Yeah, and actually, even the person that made the bulb made quite a lot, so more than 1,000 experiments and was failing. So don't make you. And now become time savvy and incredibly organized. Time is a key factor.
Very key. It's key.
The asset every person has. A rich person, a poor person, they all have time as an asset.
Yeah. Because, when you realize just that when you're at a younger age, maybe you're still in a youthful age, you feel like time is not something of value. You can sleep in for 10 hours and feel like, okay, all right, it's okay. But then you have to realize when you get older, when you're near late 40s and you have family, and probably maybe for those that, have family in later age stages, realize that time is of the essence.
Time is of the
Every minute you spend seated, idle, you feel like you've lost money, you've lost millions, you've lost connections, you've lost friends at the end of the day. So it should be like that for us now, those that are into our youthful. It should be like every minute you start and you're scrolling, we talk about mindless scrolling. You start scrolling on your phone, you feel like, oh goodness, in this minute I was scrolling, I should have done something very productive. Well, there's something here that I know Calvin College
Calvin Phillips.
Yes, he's
An entrepreneur.
He's a writer.
He's a writer.
Motivational writers. He said something here, and he said nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Yeah.
Persistence, consistency. Absolutely right.
Yeah. Well, of course, talent will not. Nothing is more common than an unsuccessful man with talent. Yeah. And of course, the genius will not. An unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated people. The slogan Press On has solved and always will solve the problems of human race. Press on persistence. Press on, pressing on, being persistent. Yeah. Of course, he talked about an unsuccessful man with talent. Yeah, those are one of the guys that press on. Wow. Their theme is like press on. If you have talent and you are not successful, at least you know at one point you have a breakthrough. So the fact that, someone talked about the fact that at some point when you don't have money, when you don't have money, there's a way it pushes you to
work hard.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is the persistence, the consistency is really
persistence.
Key. Yeah. If you have purpose, because I'm very sure with social media, leave alone TikTok, because TikTok, I realized there's no monies there. The people do not make money except for endorsements and all that. Maybe for those that have been on Twitter and those schools, the more persistent you are on the content you post, sensible content, in line of your business and all that, at one point, someone will recognize you.
Absolutely, consistency is something, and with consistency, it backs the whole idea of identity. People get to know you for that, and this is who you are. This is what you've done for the rest of your time. And because sometimes we get a bit discouraged, you do something today, it doesn't work out, and before you know it, you're trying to opt for another. For example, career. I tried to do this, it didn't work out, but were you consistent? Did you wholly give yourself into that for you to come out to judge it like it wasn't successful? Well, that brings us to the end of our discussion regarding the inspiration and the motivation quotes on this particular time. Now, back to the discussion, debating the economics of 38 years.
Yeah.
Of course, tomorrow will be celebrating the Liberation Day, 26th of January. But of course, a part of the key plans of the NRM government and a part of the key successes we've seen of this government is putting itself in a place of promoting information technology, digitization and trade, and at the end of the day, we've seen digitization embedded with trade.
Actually, we've been reading a report on China and how e-commerce is taking a role in China, and of course, pushing for cross-border trade. Yeah, so definitely, I believe if we're talking about digital evolution and digitalization of trade, that is where we should be. E-commerce. Yeah.
And definitely that is going to bring me to the digital road transformation roadmap for Uganda, in line with the Vision 2040, which of course is mainly making sure that the ICT, the innovation indices in Uganda favor us. I remember in the year 2022, our innovation indices were quite negative. It was quite alarming, as according to the different stakeholders in the different innovation hubs and centers. And when you take a look here for the pillars for the road transformation, the digital road transformation roadmap, where we see the aspect of infrastructure, setting up infrastructure for the ICT to ensure that, and there is a provision of digital services, skilling people, and there is the aspect of ensuring that the already existing innovations are actually sustained in terms of efficiency and profitability, and also coming in down to data security. But the biggest key issue here is when it comes to data security, cyber security, due to the different threats that can happen in different economies. And we know an attack into a certain system can crumble the entire economy, as a result of that. So the Ministry of ICT is really ensuring that this is done in line with the vision that is 2040. Now, part of the key perspectives here is to ensure that Uganda is actually able to perform in terms of being a data-driven economy, because we've seen scenarios, Marcy, where policymakers make decisions not based on actual data, and sometimes it frustrates planning initiatives by the different officials. Because, for example, if I say, what is the population of Uganda? I cannot say it's about 42 million. I need to be precise on this. I mean, okay, it's 45 million.
Documented.
For that, I'll be able to make the right plans. So that is when you're operating a data-driven economy. And when you take a look at data mining, data statistics, and all that is part of the short-term strategies which the government is actually looking up to implementing the digital roadmap, the digital transformation roadmap, driving to Vision 2040.
Yeah.
And I'm also grateful, part of these key initiatives, we've seen governments partnering with given phone companies, actually. Let me say that. I want to say telecommunication companies. We've seen Huawei. Just to give a little example, these companies, they're establishing ICT academies with initiative, and there is also partnership with the United Nations Development Plan. Recently, I saw them in Makerere University. They established an innovation hub, and I can see that in the ICT sector, as much as in agriculture, we still have issues here and there. We seem to be developing. We seem not to be lagged behind. In terms of that.
Of technology in agriculture.
Technology in agriculture, farmers can now easily, with embedding artificial intelligence into these technologies, farmers
weather predictions,
pests, because now we see climate change as a result of that, whereby somebody can be able to know that with the pH of soil around this area, because sometimes we're a little bit limited. That's why President Yoweri Museveni has always urged people, we are operating in a traditional way. And operating an economy in a traditional way in the 21st century cannot foster development, because you won't be able to catch up to the global demand. Because your grandmother used to plant maize on this soil, you probably have this mindset that, okay, I should plant maize. But remember, it's changing with time. As over time the land is being used, it's being affected. So that's why you need the artificial intelligence. It will tell you this land has been has been overutilized. The pH of soil is at this level. I think it would be better to plant this crop here for you to experience it. And in that way, you will be able to plant and reap big. So ICT is really part of that, and the digitization of the different initiatives is also working out. We are seeing the e-commerce, the e-government.
Actually, when you talk about e-government, most government institutions have been encouraged to, not even encouraged, they want them to do away with, they want all of them to be online. Everything should be accessed online. Your data should be fed online, on the cloud. I don't know if it's the cloud on the other. But of course, also talking about digital, we have to take in place the fact that there has to be digital skilling. Much as we are saying, we have to go evolve digitally, but does the person we feel like should be using this technology, are they aware of what it entails? So that is also important. Leave alone, we should do away with the basics of learn how to use a phone, maybe computer and all that. We have to learn the new, because this is the new era, the new evolution, where everything you have to know at least a digital skill. At least maybe computer literacy, or maybe you're in the know of of how to operate a phone. So it's gonna increase our levels of human capital. If at all, at the end of the day, citizens are in the know of what being digital is all about. What is e-commerce? Even e-commerce, what do you tell a person in the village what is e-commerce? Because most of them have phones, but they do not know how to use these phones. People have, they talk about SMEs, 90%, expecting 90% of SMEs by 2040, to have, to be digital. But how do you explain to a person in that business on how to use e-commerce.
E-commerce.
Yeah.
Actually, you're right. And when you talk about digital skilling, with the different tech companies, last year about $150 million was invested in digital skilling. And a part of this initiative involved training professionals, because now when these tech companies come into Uganda, they partner with government, definitely in some kind of a way. They formulate ICT academies. Now, the purpose of these ICT academies, actually, they collaborate with the different universities, the different universities around town. Makerere University is definitely part of them. The rest are private universities. And with here, they're training the professionals already. So it's more like...
So when you train a professional, they can
train the students. It's retooling them because it's also part of the 2040 vision of building the ICT mechanism, training the professionals already, and they transfer these skills here. And with this, it involves reaching out to these different universities, and they're certified, because one of the biggest problems we've been experiencing in the ICT field in Uganda is that majority of the ICT students, when they're at the university, they are loaded with a cocktail of not even theory, actually. A lot of things, can I call them course units?
Oh, they're not particular.
Yeah, they're not particular. Yet, when you go to the job market, it requires you to be specialized. You be a specialized person. So now, when they get to these institutions, they are trained in a specific field. Okay, you've learned software engineering. What are you going to use it for? Software engineering is quite a lot.
It's broad.
There is data storage, there is datacom, there is all sorts of things. So you know how to program. What are you using it for? Artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analysis. So there is lack of all that, all this programming, but it's quite key. So channeling that. And in Uganda, the stakeholders are so confident that we are not lagging behind. The national resistance movement has been, I think, one of the key initiatives which I feel like people have underlooked in terms of getting to recognize the good side of the NRM government is on being on the forefront to ensure that Uganda is a digital-driven economy, most especially when it comes to data perspectives.
Of course, let's talk about the internet penetration in Uganda. Well, have you realized that actually still in some areas, even in the city center, people are not able, leave alone the fact that you can access data and all that, but I don't think some of them are up to speed. Some people still have, they've not yet upgraded to even 4G, some are still on 2 or 3, now that we're already even on 5. The speed of internet also has to be also matters. Of course, recently when the NAM was coming in, there was at least something that the Ministry of ICT improvised, which is going to be long term, because everything they were doing for the NAM, at least we know it's long term. It's going to sustain, the economy for quite some time. So the penetration of internet in Uganda is a bit low, still low. Yeah, because not everyone can access internet. Look, you can access internet, but then for some people it's costly.
It's a bit costly.
Yeah, maybe if at all there is a subsidy. Once people are able to access internet one way or the other, the bandwidth and all that, the broadband and all that, maybe at one point they will have to subsidize the internet.
Yeah, but I think that's also part of the digital road transformation work, which talks about the aspect of services, provision of digital related services, because with the partnership of different tech companies, there is what we call the national backbone infrastructure, which they're ensuring that at least even the rural areas, they can have access to internet. Most especially to the institutes that are located far away from the city center. So I think within by 2040, because if we know that ICT is going to be a huge driver when it comes to driving our economy to where we want it, we need to avail the infrastructure that is available. So I think that is being worked upon, because government has development partners. It's not alone into this. Like I told you, the United Nations Development, the UNDP, so in partnership. Recently, Makerere, I'm seeing what is happening and all that. So I think in just a short while, that is all going to be really sorted out. All right, it's a debate of the economics of 38 years. Today we're discussing the digital evolution And we have seen later on to the show shall be having those discussions related to we are now assembling smartphones in our country, Uganda, and that is really
Cheaper.
proving to be profitable. But of course, all these discussions are going to be coming up shortly after this break. But it's all about adapting, because some of the key stakeholders believe that we seem to be quite slow when it comes to adapting to new trends in ICT and in all other related fields. But we are confident, because last year, because as these tech companies are establishing these ICT academies, the $150 million initiative involves organizing ICT competitions, and every given year, students are taken to China and they compete with the students globally. And our students have been emerging number one for quite a while on the global stage. ICT related.
They are brilliant.
They are brilliant.
They are brilliant.
So it shows you that we are on a good move when it comes to ICT. And we need to popularize this.
Yes, we are in a good move
to know that it is moving on.
Yes, we are good, but then how good are we to our country, Uganda? Yes, we're winning awards. We're being recognized. That what are we using? What have they set in place? Of course, a lot of innovations have come in place. Take different applications. We've seen different applications come into place, but then, how are we benefiting from these geniuses that go out and break records?
Now,
Are they being impactful to our country, Uganda? Or maybe once they win awards, they stay there in China and start working out there. So there has to be a technology transfer as well. Yeah.
All right, it's exactly 24 minutes. Let's take a break and we'll return with business, entertainment, and sport. Stick around.